Hello and welcome to Junk Hunter Garage. This episode we're going to slam a CT90. Probably going to be terrible to ride, but boy, it's going to look cool. Let's do it. So if you remember the first episode of Junk Hunter Garage, aside from the horrible audio and the indecipherable gibberish I was speaking, one of the things I showed was this CT90. I had it up on the gantry crane here and I was lowering it up and down and playing with the ride height. And I can't say that I invented the idea of a slam CT90. I saw a few pictures of some guys over in Japan doing it. I haven't really seen a lot of people doing it here, so I thought it'd be fun to attempt it because I got about 20 of these things sitting in the backyard. And I thought, low risk, high reward, because if it comes out good, it's going to be super cool. And if it doesn't, I'll just sell it for parts. So, either way. Let's dig into this. And I got a pile of parts ready to go on for kind of the first round here. You can see I got I'm going to do the leg cowling, or the leg guards. It already has an engine that I've bolted up on there. We got to do some modifying to the gas tank. I haven't really figured out the seat scenario, but we're going to rough it out and kind of make it up as we go. This is the starting point we're doing here. So we stripped the engine off. It has basically a Lifan 125 on it now, or something close. We got new tires to put on it, some real big knobby ones. You might wonder why. I'm mostly just going for the look, not really functionality, because this is going to have very little suspension, but I thought it would look cool, so we'll see. I want it to look real kind of chunky. We're going to get rid of all this. We're going to maybe put on some kind of rear brake light. We're going to tuck all these guts in. First step is going to be fighting with some tires and getting them mounted up, because that'll give us the proportions for the rest of the bike. It'll tell us what's the lowest ride height we can do, and it will start helping us to rough this out. So it looks like we're hitting this inner fender well here, so we're gonna have to cut all that out so we can get that a little bit lower. So here's where we're at. I had to massage this thing more than my pregnant wife's feet at 9 months, because it was apparently I got the cowling for the wrong bike, but came from Thailand. I ain't gonna return it because it's too much trouble. So I just cut it and made it work, because who cares? It's going to need a bit more massaging, as you can see. Oh. We wanted to get this thing low, so to do that, we had to do some clearancing. First, level 1 clearancing, we chopped this off, still wasn't low enough. Next one, we were going to not use the rear suspension anyways, because I'm going with a hardtail on it. I already got rid of the front suspension. The tires are going to be so fat, as you can see, 10 times fatter than the originals. That's going to be my suspension. That should soak up enough, and honestly, I'm not going to be riding this thing that much, so it'll be plenty for what I'm doing. So then we cut off even more, so that tire can really move up high, which means get this engine cradle down low. Still not low enough for what I'm trying to do. We're going to cut into this section, which usually divides where the battery sits in here, where it goes in that cubby, which once I do that, then the tire is going to be almost touching the battery. So now that means we're going to have to relocate the battery up into this area, which is where your gas tank would normally sit, something like that. And we're gonna not use this gas tank because inside of it's real rusty, but what we are gonna do is hollow it out and use that to house the new battery, because normally the seat would sit up here, which we're not gonna do. As you can see, that wouldn't give us a very good riding position, so I have to actually fabricate up a cradle to sit in back here. So it's gonna be chop, 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 and then we should have a battery that sits up here, enough movement to get this to come up, and somewhere for the electronics to go, and then figure out what the seat's going to be. And this thing will be, it'll be real custom by the time we're done, because that's a lot of chopping, but that's okay, because that's the fun part. That's why I usually sell them when I get to the end, is because the fun part's building them, and it's even funner to watch other people go, "What the heck is this? And why would you do that?" And because it's the process, that's the fun part. Got that all cut, boop, boop. And now we can do this, and we'll do a cut across there. And that'll let the wheel move up into here. And then we just gotta move all these electronics. We'll cut a hole, add a grommet, and shove it up into the bottom of that old gas tank. Okay, so you can see we've cut the tank top off. Boop. Cut the guts out of the tank. Cut a hole down into there, which I wish I would actually cut a little bit farther forward, but that'll work. So we got the hole cut there. We'll feed the guts through there, or we'll clean up all those, or all the rough edges. Figure out, I don't know how much of this tank I'm gonna keep. I'll get the battery in there and see. I might modify this a little bit more. Then we got to figure out how we're gonna get that to stay on there and not look weird, and then put the seat on the back. And then we have to get an actual gas tank to fit somewhere in this area, which I think, yes, there we go. Maybe something like this, like that, like this. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Ignore all of this, but we're making the hard mount rear suspension, basically getting rid of the shock and just welding up a straight section of pipe here. But I'm going to make it removable so that I can work on it easier. But we made a tab for this that we'll put on there. We popped some riv nuts in, our favorite tool here. Got the riv nut tool there, nothing fancy. Put those in so that I can mount that onto there, and then we'll weld this onto that, connect that onto there, and then it will all be serviceable and removable. Okay, got that all welded up. You can see we got that, and then we got the that. We'll put a bolt on that, but first I got to bolt the seat on, which we got right here. Sewed that up myself. That's hand stitched because the Naga hide's too thick for the little sewing machine I got. So just made a real simple pattern, and then I cut a piece of metal, riveted it on to the metal, and this black piece here is actually from the tail light. I cut the tail light housing out so that I can use where are we at? The holes for the tail light, because this used to sit all the way to the back. So now I got a good mounting point for that. So we'll get that mounted up, then we'll deal with the guts, yuck, all that, and then we should be ready to almost give it a test drive. We're still waiting for, I still got the exhaust coming in the mail, so waiting for that to come in the next couple days, and then that'll get fabbed up, and then we'll do brakes, and that might be on the next video. So I think for today we're just going to bolt this seat up, and then that'll be it.